Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, guys. Celtic Warband here, and today I'm bringing you a 2 vs 2 in Total War Attila, but this is the Age of Charlemagne DLC. Kind of getting excited, a little bit stoked for Thrones of Britannia coming out in a couple of months, and this battle was actually suggested and kind of orchestrated by Lazer, so I appreciate it. He also took part in this battle with me as well. So we basically got 2 Mercia armies versus 2 Dane armies, and it was a very brutal battle. So let's go ahead and take a look at the army comps, and then we'll get the battle started. The first army that we're going to take a look at in today's battle is the Kingdom of Mercia, and this one is commanded by myself. And with the knowledge that I'm going to be going up against Danish, and they usually tend to bring very large axes, my build is pretty skirmisher heavy. Heavy. My goodness, I was looking at my cavalry and said heavy at the same time. But the good thing is that the Danish can't actually bring any cavalry, so I've got 4 units of these horsemen in behind. They're not that great, but if I can get some rear charges with them, that would definitely be better than not bringing any at all. And then I have 3 units of these feared axemen. They're pretty low tier, just light axe infantry, but they've got some decent melee attack and melee damage, and I think they're pretty dirt cheap. They're like 200 gold. The only thing is they have little to no armor, so they're definitely going to be my flanking force. And then my meat of the line, I've got 4 units of these Royal Thanes. They are my tier 3 infantry, and they look pretty awesome. I've also got my general here, who is a Royal Companion. And which one would he be? Not exactly sure. Probably this guy, I think, with the special colored cape on, since he's the one giving the orders. We are moving forwards already, but that's okay. We're not going to miss anything. For my skirmishers, though, I've got 3 units of these feared slingers. And I have, I believe, 3 units of the Thane spearmen. And then I have 2 units of these feared javelin men. So again, like I said, pretty skirmisher heavy. I went for these javelins just because of that 70 missile damage. So hopefully if I can shoot up some of those light axes, or sorry, some of those berserker axemen, that'll be better for me. Because if I let them get into melee with me, it's pretty much GG at that point. But I'm bringing my cavalry over onto the flanks as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at the next army. The second army in today's battle is another army of Mercia, so the Kingdom of Mercia, and this is commanded by Obi-Wan 69. And he's also gone with some good skirmishers in the front line. He has 4 units of these feared archers, so they're going to have more range than my slingers, I believe. Either that or they have a little less range than slingers, I can't remember, but more melee, or sorry, more missile damage. But right in behind that, he's got 3 units of the Thane spearmen, just like myself. And then over on the flanks here, he's kind of making a little bit of a defensive, little defensive box over here. He's got his Royal Thanes over on the left-hand side. And then he's got a couple units of these feared axemen, like I've shown you. He also is bringing a Royal Companion for his general. And he has 3 units of the feared javelin men. And then I believe he's gone a little bit more cavalry heavy. He's got 2, 3, 4, 5 units of the Royal. He's got a couple of the Royal Horsemen and then a couple of the cheaper horsemen that I brought. So that's pretty much for Mercia. Hopefully they're going to be able to hold back the Danish hordes. But let's go ahead and take a look at the enemy's army comps. The first enemy army that we're going to take a look at in today's battle is the Kingdom of the Danes, and this is commanded by Lazer. And he's got a pretty solid army, a pretty fearsome army. They are moving into position, but we don't actually have any time between the positioning and the actual combat. But he's got about 4 units of these spearmen here. He's got 2 on either flank. He also has 2 units of these skirmishers, 1 on either flank. And it looks like he's peeling over one of his big axes. I think he has 4 of these guys in total. But pretty much named exactly for what they hold, which is big axes. Looks very scary. But I think he also has a couple units of berserkers here as well. Yeah, you can see them. They actually look awesome. I love with the little wolf... well, the wolf hood, I guess. I don't know what the actual term is, but they've even got the paws kind of crossed in a little crest fashion, which is really cool. But yeah, he's got some more big axes. In the front lines, he's bringing 4 units of these armored archers, which are probably going to be better than our archers just due to the fact that they have armor. And then he has 4 units of these axe herdmen here, which are a lighter axe unit. They're just one-handed. And then his general's bodyguard right here, which is the warlord's companion. And I believe that's the one there because he's got a really nice golden helmet. So that's pretty much for Max Lazer's force, so let's go ahead and take a look at his ally. The final army on the enemy side is also the Kingdom of the Danes, and this is commanded by Mitternach, I believe is how you would say his name. But he's got a very similar army as well from Max Lazer's force. He's also crossing the stream, as you can see, towards my side. But he's also got a couple units of armored archers, and he's got a couple units of these skirmishers as well. He has 4 units of the spearmen. And then he's got, I believe, 4 units of these axe herdmen. 2 units of the berserkers that we've seen. Here is his general, which he actually has housecarls. So instead of the royal companions that are sword and shield, these guys are a heavy axe unit, which looks very nice. And he's also forming up on his flank over here, but this is where more of his axe herdman is, with his big axes following right in behind. And I think they're using the water to their advantage because that's actually going to slow down my cavalry's charge. So we'll see how this plays out in the battle. Alright guys, welcome to the battlefield here, and it looks like Mitternach, he is actually moving right across the stream to face us, but my ally has actually moved all of his archers over here to try and help me by getting some good flanking fire. However, he is being targeted down quite heavily by the armored archers. I am starting to move my spearmen, who are in shield wall, into melee. Let's get a nice end zoom of that. Really nice. I've actually started this new strategy where whenever I move my troops forwards, I automatically just always have them in shield wall. Usually I would try to charge them to get in quicker into the battle and then put them in shield wall right beforehand, but this just works better in my opinion. But I do have this on slow motion, and the reason for that is because we've got the big axes actually charging into melee against my spear wall. And there they go. That's actually quite terrifying to see. They're going to probably just annihilate my spears here. Yeah, look at all of them just dying right over there. Wow. You guys should rewind and check that out. I think like 6 of them in the front lines died right away. But I don't want to miss too much of the battle. You can see over here that he's withdrawing his spears because I'm sending in my... my Third Axemen. Now, the big axes are going to cause some issues for my Third Axemen, but they're only tier 1, both of them. So I'm hoping that we won't suffer too bad. Let's go ahead and put this on regular speed again. And the battle has just exploded over here with the big axes charging into my front lines. I've got my spearmen along with the, I can't remember what they're called, but my most elite infantry fighting it out. I think they're the Royal Thanes or something. Yeah, the Royal Thanes. Well, look at that, just already breaking over on this side here. They're just muscling right through. I'm going to have to charge in my general's bodyguard. But I'm actually focusing down a lot of his axe herdmen that are in behind. And here we go. Going to get a nice charge there. Just caught it in time of us getting a good charge into the axe herdmen. Now this... The only cavalry we have access to is melee cavs, so we're not going to get, you know, super overpowered charges into these men. Over here, I've actually tied up myself with some of these spears, so I'm going to try and get them out of there, although they're going to waver just by doing that. But so far, so good over here. However, over on this side, I am missing a lot of the battle because it's just such a short battle. But these Danish big axes are just such a horrendously good shock infantry. They just melt right through front lines. So my ally is really having a hard time containing them. With that being said, though, he is actually sending a lot of his archers over to help me on my side. But the big axes have basically just broken through over here. And a lot of the infantry, the Royal Thanes over here, even breaking, the Warlord's Companion and the Axe Herdman just going to town on these poor units. Yeah, just look at this. Pretty much all of his army was wiped out already.
Our ally has fled.
Here comes some of these big axes, though, actually getting shot down by the javelins. So they're definitely a useful thing to have. Even on the flanks as well, getting fired upon. And then a nice charge over here by the... I think these are these the Royal Horsemen? No, they're just a horseman unit. They are quite depleted. I think they did return from routing earlier. But yeah, he's even got his cavalry. You can see he's got his cavalry over here trying to help me win on this flank. But the Danes are just so powerful. Really, really powerful. We do have the Housecarls actually engaged in melee over here, though, which is a good thing. So, Mitternach's general over here engaged in melee against my feared axeman. I can actually see him right there, too. He's actually right there with the golden helmet there. Slicing and dicing my men. Oh! Brutal, brutal. See, it was just such an explosive battle. Like, it didn't last very long at all. Just look at the death and carnage over here on my battle lines. I'm sending in some of my feared javelin men that have used up all their ammo. That is a nice shot, though. Just utter chaos on the battlefield. We've got the berserkers now to contend with, too. They're just throwing our poorly armored soldiers down on the ground and just finishing the job. There we go, a spearman falling to the might of the berserker. But yeah, you could see, like, it was bad that I kind of missed Max Lazer's explosive charge, but to be honest, a lot of his forces are over here. You can see he's withdrawing, you know, some of his feared axemen and his royal companions over to my flank. Because with my allies' help, we actually are able to hold back this Danish onslaught. And I'm trying to get a nice side charge into the general's bodyguard here. Kinda worked, but not really. I'm mostly charging into the backs of my own men. Oh, man. It's just like every swing they're getting a kill. And looks like the general for Mitternach is still alive. And if you are watching this and I'm pronouncing your name wrong, please let me know, because in future battles I won't slaughter it as much as I am doing right now. But I'd assume that's how it's spelled, or how it's pronounced, given how it's spelled. But there we go. Getting a nice kill. Down on his knees and then actually coming back for the kill. Right before we're breaking here. I think some of my units are actually breaking if I zoom out. No, we're holding them on. Royal Thanes breaking the Axe Herdman. But we can go ahead and put this back onto play. Yeah, my allies withdrawing a lot of his forces, but with him doing that, Max Lazer's army is pretty much untouched here. And these spears actually getting peppered down by a lot of fire arrows. I probably would have put it more to heavy shot or even standard shot. Fire arrows are really better to use against enemy cavalry. But since the Danes don't have any cavalry and Max Lazer's general is still alive, there's really no need in firing fire arrows at these spears, except for to get some of these shots.
Our men flee the field of battle. This is a shameful display.
But yeah, Max Lazer is just free to reform his forces. Now, my ally did do a decent amount of damage to his Axe Herdman. Looks like a lot of them have been kind of down to half health. I think that's due to a lot of his javelins. But unfortunately, I'm pretty much out of cav at this point. I'm just trying my hardest to get rid of this general. Let's see if this general is still alive. I think that he is. Yes, he is. He definitely is alive. That's him right there. But it looks like he is going to be retreating. Maybe, I'm not sure. He actually might have broken my unit of feared axemen there. So he is still alive. He's pushing our men across the waters. The Housecarls. But I do have a unit of horsemen over here that I will actually try to get rid of the general's bodyguard with. These spears charging back into melee over here, and these berserkers, 12 of them left, taking on my royal companions and a ton of my other soldiers, but they are still holding on. My brave unit of horsemen here in the sight of the general and a couple of the Danish units coming across the water. Come on, get a charge on them.
The men are losing faith.
Please charge. Does he get rid of this horseman unit without me even noticing? Oh, they're wavering right away. Oh. So yeah, maybe I don't even notice that this one has come back. Yeah, I try to pull them away. One of them gets caught, though. He's probably going to get killed, this guy. Oh, knocked off his horse. Ooh. Yeah, and there we go. They've broken for good. So, not the best play on my part there. But just look at the death already. Most of these are the Kingdom of Mercia's fallen soldiers. There's not too many of the Vikings have fallen today. Well, I shouldn't say that. I'd say, you know, half of the Vikings have fallen, but we've got to contend with a whole nother Danish army, and it's probably at about 70% strength. But this battle line too, a lot of death. I'm quickly trying to form up my skirmishers because that's what's gonna give me the most help. Let's get an end zoom in there as the Vikings push forwards into combat. Oh, we got a couple of the arrows actually glitching in their positions there. Hold, men. I've got what's left of my infantry and shield wall, and I'm going to charge in my skirmishers first so that I can kind of mitigate their charge bonus, basically, and then follow it up with my general. He's pretty much my only healthy unit that's still left. We got the skirmishers over here. Max Lazer also bringing some of the javelins for the extra armor-piercing damage. Hold, men, hold. No, don't flee. Get back into melee. Protect your general. Oh, here comes the big axes along with, I think this is Max Lazer's general. Yes, the Warlord's companion. So it's general versus general over here in the final minute of the battle. And apparently we're losing our advantage, but I don't even think we had an advantage here. These Danes, they're so powerful. Their only disadvantage is that they don't have cav, but you have to kind of pick a faction that has really good cavalry. The melee cav that the Kingdom of Mercia fields, there's two choices. There is I believe a 450 gold horseman unit, which I brought, and then the next unit is 1,000, the Royal Horsemen. But I think they're still only tier 3 or tier 2. And both of them are melee. You don't even have the option of shock cavalry, which I guess is accurate of the time period. Maybe the Kingdom of Mercia really just didn't have any shock cavalry at that time. But regardless, this is obviously a clear victory for the Danes. And hopefully you guys are getting excited for Thrones of Britannia. This is something that I would hope to see some very large battles in the future when that game does come out. Really hoping that it's not going to be an expansion of an expansion, though. Like, I hope they don't just rebrand Age of Charlemagne, make it a standalone game, and then pump it out for us to enjoy. But regardless, I have it pre-ordered, so I guess we'll find out in a couple months. I definitely will be doing a campaign in Thrones of Britannia, and many battles as well. I'm also looking forward to getting some epic battles going, some of the historical battles of that time frame. But looking at Obi-Wan 69's army here first, his spear is not doing too well, but his general doing excellent. And the cavalry, for melee cavalry, like, that's solid kills. It's really not enough. We would have needed more. But these feared axemen that are very, very cheap, they ended up getting a decent amount of kills, as well as the skirmishers, I think, getting the most kills. Looking at my forces, again, my Thane Spearmen getting wrecked, but my Royal Thane's actually faring better. This one, 306 kills. And again, my Feared Axemen, really good kills there. That's insane for a 200 or a 250 gold unit. That's actually pretty solid. Skirmishers alright, but again, my cab pretty low. General 175. Looking at Max Lazer's army, though, Axe Herdmen, yeah, just wrecking lives. Spearmen even getting a lot of kills. Berserkers, high kills there. The big axes, 235, 295. They were just an unstoppable force. And Mitternach, or Mitternach 1. 200 with his general, 100 with his spears. Berserkers, 141. His axe is actually doing really solidly, even though I was focusing them down. And his archers, not too bad. So hopefully you enjoyed this battle. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this in the future. And I will see you in the next one.